Good morning. Good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize for the viewer not able to see my picture. We've been running some technical difficulties here this morning with the internet system. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about my faith journey from chaplain to hospice, also to Canon Hospice, and I'm gonna run through that fairly quickly because I know time is of the essence right now. And initially graduating from seminary, we were required to have at least what they call one basic quarter of clinical pastoral education before we could actually graduate. So I took up my clinical in New Orleans at Baptist Hospital. I had a choice to go to Children's Hospital or even Our Lady of the Lake in Baton Rouge. But I specifically chose Baptist because I felt it was going to be very difficult, a very challenging thing for me at Children's Hospital, and I really didn't want to have to go through that at that time. However, while at Baptist Hospital, my assignment was pediatrics, so I had quite an experience with that after 3 weeks being there because I was on call for the weekend, and I was called out early on a Sunday morning for a 2-year-old baby that had were brought into the emergency room and presumed dead upon arrival. And so, of course, I was called to that particular situation and had to deal with that. And it was quite a challenge for me as well. So upon completing that, I went on become United Methodist minister, and I was called by the director of the pastoral care department at Charity Hospital, and he was in need of a chaplain. And he said I became highly recommended to him. So I sat down and talked with him and went over, and I worked with him for a while there at Charity Hospital as one of the chaplains there. And also I was assigned to all of the critical areas there at Charity Hospital, the emergency room, the ICUs, CCUs, and all of the others there. And that also was very challenging for me. And following that, um, I went on to go back to what they call the McFarland Institute because I felt like I needed some additional training, some additional education in ministry period, not just chaplaincy, but in ministry period. And so while I was there for my first year, it was a very intense program. There were only 4 of us selected to the class, and I served my period there. And following that, someone encouraged me to go on to become a board certified chaplain. And so I went on to my first year there, rather, I was assigned to the New Orleans Police Department. And of course, that was quite an experience there as well. My second year there, while I was working towards my board certification, I was assigned to Children's Hospital, back at a place where I really didn't want to go to begin with. But I must say that was quite a fate experience for me with the little children. I learned quite a lot from little children about faith. And so following that particular thing, I went on and went before the board and committee and got my certification. And a friend of mine who was in my first group with me, he had called me about a position at Our Lady of the Lake in Baton Rouge as a chaplain there. So I went on and started work there and worked there for a period of time. And then I left from there, and the same friend, he left and he called me again. And this time it was about hospice. He was working at Odyssey Hospice in Metairie there. So he asked me about a position there. So I went and I became a hospice chaplain at Odyssey and didn't know what that would be like because I'd never done hospice before, so to speak. Following that, I went on back to Charity Hospital and became the director of the pastoral care department there at Charity Hospital. And I stayed there for a while, but I wasn't satisfied being there as a chaplain. So I called my old director back from Odyssey Hospice, and just so happened he had moved on to start a new hospice unit in New Orleans called Community Hospice. And he had asked me, would I mind coming back and work for me because he really would love to have me back with him. So I went back and became once again back into hospice. With community hospice, and of course, worked through that not only as the chaplain but also as the bereavement coordinator. And from there, of course, Hurricane Karina came along, and that dismantled that. Following that, I went on and became a hospice chaplain in Baton Rouge with Heart of Hospice. and worked there with them for a period of time until they closed down. And once again came back in contact with my old administrator from Community Hospice and Odyssey Hospice, and he had started up another unit in Gonzales. So I went and worked with him for a while there at Gonzales, and then that dissolved. And so following that, that's when I went and I applied for a part-time position at Cannon Hospice in Baton Rouge, and went in and was accepted, for that particular program. And so that's been about 4 going into 5 years now. So I've been serving there at Cannon Hospice in Baton Rouge for that period of time. And since then, I was asked also to convert to full-time, and also asked to help out with bereavement. And once again, like I said, it has been quite a journey. And I sense, and I thank Dr. E for asking me to do this, because it helped me to be able to look back and say, they say hindsight is better than foresight. And I can see now through all of that how God was working with me and leading me to this particular point, even to where I am now with Cannon Hospice. And so I thank you all for this moment to just share with you all that brief. And I'm sorry I had to sort of rush through it, but like I see, because of the time element here, I didn't want to hold you all, any longer. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.